No, I'm the head coach. I get to set the schedule.
Hold on.
There you go.
Let's ask the coach.
All right, what do you got today? What's the questions for the coach?
First of all, I just want to add again. I always say this, but that last part there, the coach's whistle, that makes the imaging like that. That just sells it. So the assistant coaches that were hired by JJ Redick today.
By the way, that whistle does make it, but it is not a modern day whistle.
Yeah, you've said this before.
Listen to that whistle one more time. Go ahead. Okay, so that whistle has the little ball inside. Remember those? Okay, here's an actual whistle, my actual practice whistle. Did you hear how much sharper that was?
You had that ready to go.
Yeah, how much sharper that was. So that's a Fox 40 whistle, which I believe a former college and NBA ref actually invented. I think his last name is 40. And anyway, that's
related to Pat 40.
He's not related to Pat 40. I think it's spelled different.
I wonder if there's an FCC rule against doing a whistle into a microphone. Like there are people in their cars right now trying to get to their July 4th weekends, or like that just stop their cars because they're so used to whistles stopping play. You know?
Yeah, I wonder.
So JJ Redick hiring 2 assistants reminds me of something that you have said, if not 100 times, a million times.
Ron Foxcroft, by the way, invented it. He was a referee himself. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, nice. So one thing that you've repeated since you took the job at Green Bay, and I'm interested in this answer, is you have said that hire assistants who know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So you've gone through the process. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for specifics here. You don't have to tell me names or anything, but what was it that you didn't quite know, and what did you hire people to do that you don't know? I want to know the specific things.
Well, I know how to communicate with people, recruit them, paint a vision, try and get them to sign. I have a story I want to tell you real quick in relation to it. You want to know the hardest thing I've had to do?
Yes.
Since I've been okay. There's a kid named Alexei. I won't say his last name. He's Polish, and we were recruiting him. And I was trying to decide what I want to do with my last scholarships, and I wanted a point guard. He's a 6'6", 6'7" Polish point guard. I love the kid. Think he's a tremendous player. And I have another point guard who he's committed to me. He hasn't signed, so I can't mention his name, whatever. And but I've been on him since I got the job. I have a friend who reached out and was like, "Hey, I got this kid. He's really, really good." And I kind of had to get the rest of the staff to come around to agreeing with me on him. Meanwhile, Alexei, it was like a week of recruiting him, and I had to tell him yesterday, like, we're not going to offer you a scholarship. It was so hard because frankly, if I had unlimited scholarships, I would. But I don't need another guy right now. I don't need what he does as badly as I need some other pieces. So anyway, that's the deal with. That's the hardest thing I've had to do. What did I not know? I know how to teach overall defense, but in terms of specific defensive breakdowns and handling the defense, I needed that. I obviously have to have somebody who works with the big guys, as I've worked with. I needed somebody who's an expert. I do player development, but I also, in terms of the individual skill development, I don't do as much of. I needed somebody who does that. And then I needed help with administrative stuff, with all of the little tasks that it's like I tell people all the time. I do all the fun stuff, the performance stuff I can do. It's all the other little things that I'm not good at. So I hired people who've done all those things.
And you're satisfied with the people you've hired to do those things? Were you able to accomplish that?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I still have potentially 2 spots available. I don't have a ton of money left. So I have to be able to kind of balance all of that stuff, right? Like if I could hire whoever I wanted to hire, I would definitely have covered all of but I've pretty much covered all my bases. And I didn't hire any coach just to get a player, which I don't think is smart because then the coach is way too close to that player, way too tied to that player, and that's not how you build an overall program.
Brian Finley, you have a question for Doug.
Yeah, Doug, what is it like?
Oh, you got to blow the whistle. You got to ask Coach.
Coach, where is that whistle?
Where's the whistle?
I can't do the Phil Jackson, by the way, where he's able to do it without a whistle. I can't do that. But, Doug, what is it like trying to connect with a Gen Zer now, right? Like in the recruiting
I just
world.
had 4 of them in my office as they're all going home or somewhere else for. I mean, honestly, that's the part I'm really good at. Because remember, I've coached AAU basketball, so a lot of these guys I would have coached in AAU over the last 7 years that I've done it. And then, you know, I have now college-age daughters of my own and a high school-age son. And, oh, yeah, by the way, like what we do for a living, if you're a really good radio host or you're actually a really good basketball analyst, is you got to connect with people. They have to understand you and you have to understand them. So, yeah, that part has actually been the best part. Like, I really feel like if I get in a spot where it's anywhere close in recruiting, I can get a kid because I think I understand how they think and what they're looking for, and without promising them anything that's not accurate.
I wonder, like, another question here. When these guys get into trouble, okay? So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You're gonna have fires to put out. I'm just wondering, like, you've been a player and you very much have dealt with trouble in your past as well. I'm just wondering, like, where are you coming from being compassionate and understanding and needing the player on the court to having to send a message and it land?
It's great. This is a great question. Okay, so I don't have a lot of rules. You know, I think sometimes coaches have like set rules. Okay, the rules I do have: don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. Right, basic ones. But here's a couple big ones, and I told them this. They're going home this weekend. If you drink and you get behind a wheel of a car, these things, like what happens to you, is out of my control. Same thing if you smoke and you get behind the wheel of a car. I can't do it. Okay, so the rule is that if you do, I would prefer you don't. I also know you're human beings. You all have my number. You all have everybody in the staff's number. I don't care where in the world you are. You tell me where you are, and I will either send a car or I'll go pick you up myself. But again, you get behind the wheel of that car, like we're pretty much done here. So that's a hard and fast rule, because you're not just taking your life; you're taking everybody else's life into your hands. And again, like now we get to, like, I can't. There's nothing I can do legal. Like, you want to get yourself fired, step in the way of the legal process. That will get you fired in a heartbeat. So there's that. And then I tell them all, like, look, you all know the difference between right and wrong. And if you don't, and something's like, this might not be right, then it's definitely not right. Just don't do it. And then if you want to be treated, you all want to be treated like men. You all want to be given space and freedom. Then you have to act like it. And if you don't, there's repercussions for it. So that's how I handle that.
Hold on. Let's ask the coach.
Another question.
Yeah.
What do you got there?
Well, this is not sports related, but you did make it to Summerfest, correct, Doug?
I did.
Yep. And you had your first Leinenkugels?
I did.
Summer Shandy. What did you think?
Outstanding.
It's good. It's not too sweet. Like, it's not like going into the Mike's Hard Lemonade department. It's a good recipe that I'm sure they've been doing for a long time. So you enjoyed your first Leinenkugels as a resident
I did,
of
and
the
I
state
think
of
we're going to go to
Wisconsin?
Summerfest on the 5th is Maroon 5. So
Who'd you see this over the weekend? Or did you?
Tyler Childers was. I didn't see over the weekend. It was Friday.
Friday. How long does this go for? Like a couple
this
weeks?
is the last weekend.
Okay.
This coming weekend's the last weekend.
All right. Good turnout.
It's the world's largest music festival, and maybe longest music festival.
Wow. So what's the one down in Tennessee? It's what's that called?
Bonnaroo.
Bonnaroo. Yeah. So it's bigger than Bonnaroo, is what you're saying.
I'm just
Long
repeating
lasting.
things. I don't know if they're facts. I don't know how that is measured.
Okay. And a good turnout, good weather.
It was great when I was there. It was
Yeah.
a little rain when I was there, but then it was fine. Then it cleared up and it was fine. And the weather now is perfect. Just rained all day yesterday, but just absolutely perfect from now until through the weekend. So, Maroon 5, July 5th, I think. Yeah, Maroon 5, July 5th. They have like 7 stages, but that's on the main stage.
Okay. This is outside of the city of Milwaukee?
No, it's right on the. It's in Milwaukee. It's right. It's like downtown, right on the water.
Right on the water. Okay.
Right on the water.
I've not spent a lot of time in Milwaukee. I've spent a lot of time in the state of Wisconsin, but not Milwaukee.
Okay. Thank you for sharing the extra part there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure the coach wanted you to.
I think
go
Finley's got a coach question. Go ahead and
go
play
ahead,
that.
Brent.
Play that bridge there, Sam. I like that last one. All right,
He's
go
finding
ahead,
it.
Brian.
Or don't.
Schedule.
Hold on.
There we
Let's
go.
ask the coach.
I got to slice it and dice it a little bit.
There you go. Doug, when do you decide when a player needs like a motivating pick-me-up of a speech, or when do you decide like, hey, we just need to get X's and O's down and that's what they need right now?
What I've tried to do is have each. Again, I have somebody who schedules it, and I try and have one of them come in each day. Today I had a bunch of them in, but one of them come in each day and just kind of a check-in, like a 15 minutes. How you doing? What do you need? What do you need? How you feeling? What's going on at home? What's going on with your folks, girlfriend, whatever? And just kind of feel them out from there. But again, we haven't been doing it long enough. I mean, we've had them going for 3 weeks now. So, but it's just more kind of figuring out. There's a lot. Look, they're just like any other 18 to 23-year-old, right? Many of them just as insecure as we are as adults, and try not to trigger those insecurities. Build them up in self-confidence. Build them up and congratulate them on the things they've done well. I have a player who really, really talented on offense. He's not good on defense. And 2 days ago we met, and I said, look, guys, we're just telling to my staff. I said, I think we're being too hard on him on defense. I was like, it's not that we don't want him to defend. He wants to defend. He just hasn't ever done it, and we're trying to fix it. So let's not be hypercritical of every mistake, but let's really kind of support every great thing he did. And especially one of my coaches who's pretty intense, I was like, look, dude, you kind of got to dial back on that kid because he has no defensive confidence. And I'd never really seen anything. My son actually has kind of suffered through this defensive confidence thing. And today, in a scrimmage, he made a great defensive play. So I blew the whistle and stopped it, and I said, at 10:10 a.m. on July 3rd, so-and-so has decided to become a basketball player. And he knew what I meant, which is, okay, now we're going to get active defensively. Because if he can just be decent defensively, he can be awesome on offense. It really holds him back. So anyway, that's how I go about like a little bit of a do-better talk, if you will, is find ways in which they can be successful and support those ways.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
I want to say it was Joe Mazzulla. I read at some point in my content consuming over the last month, I read that Mazzulla played the gladiator for a teammate or for a team or a player. Is that something that you want to do? Are you going to play movies for your guys?
Yeah.
And if so, what movies?
That's a great question. I think guys, I'll call on your knowledge, because one of the things is like, Jay Stu, we're kind of old, and not all of them. So this is a real thing. So I took a commitment from a point guard last night, and I was texting with him. He's in a different country, and I said, "Hey, have you seen any of the Star Warses?" And he's like, "No, coach, that hasn't gotten to my generation." Because I said, I want to put you in Jedi training, right? I consider myself a Jedi in regards to point guards. And he's like, "If you want me to, coach, I'll watch the Star Warses to know what you're talking about." And I was like, "Yeah, I think we're good." So you got to be really careful with dating ourselves. Can't have them go watch Caddyshack or Airplane or even Slapshot. Maybe a couple of them you can. The John Hughes movies, I love them. You love them. I don't think they resonate, but I do think that anything in the last 10 years would be good.